It's my pleasure to introduce to you today a new tool that's going to be available to firefighters. Hello, I'm Lieutenant Stan Coulthard with the Bay County Fire Rescue. Been a firefighter, career firefighter for 15 years. Firefighting has been the same over the years, and we've had very little true innovations in how we do what we do. And what I'm going to do also today is introduce the concept of tactical overhaul. Tactical overhaul is, everybody's using the word tactical today. Everything, it's the cool word. But in this case, it really means what it is. Tactical is swift, efficient, and measured. And that's what we need to do to change how we do overhaul, because it is one of the most important aspects of what we do, even though it's the least glamorous on the fire scene. Everybody hates it, but we got to do it, and we got to do it right. When we go into an offensive attack fire, we crawl into the building, we go to the seat of the burning, and we bring our pre-connects in, we put some water on the seat of the fire. We'll knock most interior fires, 1-2 room and contents, down with 30 gallons of water. If we've done our job, we'll have a dry floor after that fire's knocked down. And we'll high-five each other, man, hey, we used the right amount of water at the right time, right place. We've blacked this fire out, we got a dry floor. That's good firefighting. But for years, what we've been faced with is we use that same 100 gallons a minute hose to do overhaul. 75% of the time we're on a fire scene, we're doing overhaul. So it's a major part of what we do. It also is the part of the fire that kicks your butt. It's toting that heavy line around to every inch of this building, and it's extremely labor intensive. Why do we need to change what we're doing? That's the first question. Why do we need to change? We've been doing it the same way for 100 years. First and foremost, as always, is firefighter safety and welfare. Firefighter health and safety should always be the #1 priority. 52% of all injuries that we get are on the fire scene. Makes sense. The #1 type of injury that we suffer is stress, strain, and exhaustion. What we do is the hardest labor you can do. While we're doing our job, nobody in the world works harder. And we absolutely wear ourselves out doing that job. The #1 mechanism of injury on the fire ground is handling charged hose lines. You have severe nozzle reaction from the pressure. It's heavy, it is bulky, it is very inconvenient to move that line into different rooms, up into attic areas. It is extremely labor intensive, and a lot of the stress and strain that we go through is moving that line around. So 40% of all the injuries on the fire ground are because we deal with this big, heavy charged hose line. Here's another thing that's happening. When we use a large amount of water to do our overhaul, we literally create a carcinogenic soup. We make cancer soup, and then we wade around in it for a couple of hours. Soaks all up in our gear, and we get to take it back into the apparatus and right back into the station. That carcinogenic soup, we have no idea what's in it, but we know that firefighters are getting cancer far beyond the normal population. And the hypothesis is a fire is creating and bringing all these man-made chemicals together under heat, and then we bring in humidity, and we literally are making a carcinogenic soup. The second is we need to give great customer service. Most fires, the primary damage is our water. We absolutely destroy buildings, and we make all this nice carcinogenic soup, which then runs throughout the structure. Especially on a multiple story building, in an apartment building, if you're putting water in the 4th floor, that water is going to seep down and get into the third, second, and first floor. Our job is to protect life and property. Sometimes we forget the and property. We're real good at saving lives, but it's and property. We need to save, we need to salvage and do proper overhaul to save the material possessions of our customers. Here's another one. Excessive amounts of water destroys any evidence of a crime scene. If you're an investigator and you're hearing me, you know that when we go in and do overhaul, we wash all your evidence out the door. If we do tactical overhaul, we're going to use a whole lot less water, and that's going to preserve your crime scene, and you're going to be able to make more arrests. Third reason is environmental concerns, and it's just what I was saying with the carcinogenic soup. The federal government is in the process of trying to declare the runoff from structure fires as a hazardous material, because it really is an unknown what's in that soup. So we've got to be proactive and figure out ways to control the amount that we create. You know, if we can keep that carcinogenic soup from running throughout that structure and going up under the bottom plates and staying there forever, dripping down through the walls into the lower apartments, we're going to be creating a safer environment for the people living there. The other one is, environmentally speaking, the West is going through horrible droughts. They don't have the water to dump in these fires. You know, a typical fire, a 1 and 2 bedroom and contents, you know, we can flow as much, we'll knock it down with 30 gallons of water, and then we'll use between 2,000 and 3,000 gallons by the time we finish and do our overhaul. That's a lot of water on every fire out west. So a huge reason is that we need to change how we do overhaul is simply because we don't need to use the water. We need to be good stewards of our environment. To do tactical overhaul, there hasn't been a tool available to do that. Now there's a tool, and it's called the Overhaul Line System, and that one simple tool will take over 90% of the water damage that we do on an offensive attack fire. It's also going to take 90% of the labor that we're doing out of that fire. And we're going to go outside in just a minute, and you're going to see it actually in action. As you can see, we're pumping about 110 pounds to only a 50-foot section. So we got a lot of pressure on that line. Now what I'm going to do is hook up the overhaul line while it's pumping at the same pressure. You can see that I'm in full bunker gear, eye safety, also got gloves. Let me show you the pressure on this line. Bottom line, you can see that this line has a lot of pressure on it. So what I'm going to do is deploy the line. I'm going to make sure the valve is closed. So what we're going to do is pull the collar back, push this in, done. That quick, that easy. No spray, no nothing. Now I'm going to bleed it off. Now look at the reach that you have on this line. It's an amazing amount of reach, but it's only 10 gallons a minute. Now, while you're moving around doing overhaul, of course, the great thing is you can just dribble it, push it in, bump it, stick it into some sheetrock, quick bump. It's all about using as little water as you can and put it in the right place. But as you can see, it's absolutely maneuverable.
and check the line out. Looks kinked, still got good flow. Bottom line, guys, we're gonna be in a house doing overhaul for 2.5 hours. You want this in your hands and not an 1 3/4 attack line. Both for our sakes, we're not hurting ourselves, we're not getting tired, and for our customers' sake, because we're not tearing up their stuff. The entire time I'm on this line can be manned by another firefighter, and it is completely operable at all times. So if you do pull a ceiling, you get a flare up, the attack line's still there for you, and a man's on it. So safety is always job one.
My name's Stan Coulthard. I'm the president of Common Sense Solutions. Obviously, you just saw me as a lieutenant on a fire department introducing the overhaul line. I did that because first and foremost, my passion, my love is firefighting. So I wanted to introduce this product as a firefighter. But the other end of that is I am the inventor of this product, and I've got a company, and like any company, I want to get this sold and get this out in the market. It's such a simple invention. Like I said earlier, it's going to do away with most of the water damage, cut 90% of the water damage on any offensive attack fire. It's going to take a charged hose line out of the fireman's hand 75% of the time. So you're not going to get those injuries. And it's so easy, the guys aren't going to get stressed and strained and exhausted, and they're going to come off the fire scene ready to go work again instead of just being beat. So I took this invention and wanted to find a partner. And I was really, really blessed in finding the best partner in this country, and that's Elkhart Brass. It's one of the oldest fire equipment companies in the country, sterling reputation, absolutely everything built here in America, tough as nails. It's just one of the best companies and the best equipment you can buy. Now, I'm still a firefighter, still every third day I'm on the truck, but I've got to get these out and sell them now. What we're going to do is really kick this off and unveil this at FDIC in Indianapolis 2015. Less than $1,400, you can completely equip your first end pumpers. That'll give you both pre-connects with an overhaul line system on it. The overhaul line system, to me, is kind of like seat belts, airbags, and residential sprinklers. We know those three products save lives, they save injuries, and they save property. You can't argue against their use. To me, the overhaul line's the same way. We're going to save injuries, we're going to save possible deaths by exhaustion and dealing with charged hose lines. We're going to greatly reduce the amount of damage we do to our customer, our taxpayers' homes and businesses. It's simple as this. You now know it exists. You know how to keep your guys safe, keep your guys fresh, and do the very, very best job at protecting the property of our taxpayers. If you will, as soon as this is over, go click on the order form on the website, and let's get this thing out there and start protecting our people and protecting our taxpayers. I appreciate it. Look forward to seeing you at FDIC in Indianapolis this year. Want you to hold one. But pre-show pricing, get it now, because the federal government's actually about to rule all the runoff from structure fires as hazardous materials. The NIST, National Institute of Science and Technology, their next push is how to not use as much water in fires. If they come out with a ruling and a tool like this, which this is patented, so it's not going to be a lot of people out there, but if I all of a sudden have to put this on every truck in America. Supply and demand, price could go up. So do yourself, do your taxpayers and your firefighters a favor, buy them now before the show. And $1,400, best $1,400 you ever spent. Thanks for listening to me. Hope to see you in Indianapolis.